What's up, guys? I got the Ford at Daytona after a week off. A little under the weather right now, so if the video is a mess, I'll blame it on that. At Daytona this week, which adds a little bit different challenge than most other weeks, and that's primarily getting a car that carries a lot of speed on the oval section, but then still has good handling on the infield, which usually takes a little more effort as far as working on the setup. Just have my barber set up from I guess it's 2 weeks ago. Just run some laps, yeah, get the general braking points down, all that stuff. And then I'm sure I'll make some adjustments to it because of this straightaway. Probably just have way too much wing in it right now. But I have a feeling these videos this week are going to be a little bit longer just because the setup process is usually a little bit more, takes more effort. Usually because what I'll do, that's just reminded me, I just started recording my telemetry. So I'll have sorry, I'm trying to do something right now. I'm recording my telemetry right now. I'll put links into the info section of the video, but use a Motec telemetry. I really only use it for these roval type tracks where you need to figure out your ride height for your the best aero flow underneath the car. Because what you want is when you're on that oval section of the track, you want the car to be as flat as possible. You don't want any rake in it when it's at speed. You don't want the nose lower in the rear, and you don't want the rear lower in the front because it'll mess up the airflow underneath the car and act like a mini parachute. So that's what I'll use Motec for. I'll see what my ride heights are. And what I usually do is I usually adjust that first, so I get it to where my ride heights stay nice and level, and then I'll start working on the infield part of the car, because there's no point of working on the infield part of the car when you still have to... I have to change gears. Oh, way too fast. Because there's no point on working on the infield part of the car when you get on the straightaway and it's just acting like a parachute. Then you have to adjust that and make it so it's a little bit more streamlined on the oval part. And then when you do that, you lose all your... or the effect, you know, it could mess up how it handles on the infield part, so... I like to figure out this part first, and then go from there. Unfortunately, I don't think I'll be able to show you guys the Motec software, but I'll put the link in, and you guys can explore that for yourselves if you so feel inclined. Right now, it's just all about running those laps, getting warmed up, figuring out where all your brake marks are, and slowly working into it. There's no reason to drive like an idiot right off the bat and just keep driving off track. You usually waste time doing that. I just slowly keep building up your speed lap by lap. pretty sure I have full wing on this car right now, so. And I'll definitely be experimenting with the gears, because in the draft I would think I'd be hitting the rev limiter there.
Get back in that rhythm, my man.
I've pretty much been sick all last week, and I'm just starting to feel better. So, sorry if this video is a little off. Might be a little bit more lackadaisical than usual.
5, 6.
Definitely go flat out through there. That is a tricky corner. You just want to do late apex and try and hug that apex as long as possible. Easy to overdrive that corner. Same with this corner. Kind of let it come out and come back in, a little double apex action. Rear end's a little loose under brake in there, which doesn't excite me too much because I think I got full wing and I'll be taking a lot more out, so hopefully we'll get that figured out later on. Probably getting a little bit closer to our race pace.
0.94.
Right now I'm braking a little bit after that green cone. Pit exit cone, I think it is, for that corner. Up here, braking just a little after the 100 board. Might be closer to those orange cones on the right. Again, late apex. And flat out through here. Braking here. I think it's going to be the middle of the cone, middle of the cones. That corner. And up here, right there. That's too far. Don't hit the wall. Yeah. I don't know, I have to do another 4 or 5 laps to get the tires where they were. Stoked I didn't hit that wall. So, I'll back that up, probably brake right in the middle of where that other part of the track splits off, right in the middle of that road. Somewhere in there. And up here. Let's see. I think it's going to be in between that pole where caution light and the one marker. Probably break in between those two for that corner. So I've pretty much got my braking points figured out. And just fine tune those and see if we can get some more consistent fast laps here. Get a better baseline.
54.8.
It's like I've said in all my other videos, you really just, before you start making any adjustments to the car, you really just want to see what you got. Really get the most out of what you got at that point, and then go make adjustments off that. That way you're not making adjustments that you don't need to make, because you might just have to changed a little bit of way of the drive, or maybe you're not taking the corner properly, so it's not the setup's fault, it's your fault. The only way you really figure that out is if you know. Okay, so for there, it's almost where that little road splits off is where I'm gonna brake. Maybe just a little bit after that. But yeah, if you don't really take the time in the beginning just to get some solid laps in, then you really don't know if those adjustments you're making are helping or hurting the car. So yeah, right after the caution pull, or caution lights, I think this is where my brake marker is going to be for that corner. I'm thinking race pace is going to be, actually I don't know. Too early to tell. I almost wanted to say 45 seconds, but I really don't know.
46.85.
I'm definitely getting a little warmed up now on lap 5, yeah. Getting more into that range of seeing how hard I can push it now. This is a fun car to drive. This wish it was a little bit faster. To me, it has the most neutral feel. Feels like you can drive it more than you can any other car. It's just lacking overall grip.
46.27.
And it's handling really good in the infield too, so. Oh. Way too fast. Alright. We could probably squeak another 5/10 or 7/10 of a second out of this. So, what I'm going to do now is have you guys look at a black screen. And I am going to go to Atlas, which again I'll send links to you guys at bottom of this page. I'll show you how to set all this stuff up, and you guys can read the tutorials, all that fun stuff. I really wish you guys could see this though, because basically what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be looking at my ride heights. Excuse me. I'm just going to be seeing okay, so right now looks like you know, just on the back straight, that's what I like to look at, because that's the flattest part of the ground. We're in the corners and stuff. It kind of, you know, the rights are going to be lower just because you're in the corner. So I like to look at that. What I'm looking at right now is the back straightaway section of the lap on the Atlas, and right now it's saying my fronts are at a 0.060 and my rears are at a 0.054. So Looks like the rears are a little too low. And unfortunately, I don't know what value these numbers are I'm looking at because I just uploaded somebody else's template for Atlas. I don't know what the units are. I'm trying to look and see. I'm gonna guess they're millimeters. So right now I gotta raise the rear of the car basically 5/1000ths of a millimeter. Yeah. Okay. So go back here. Now, two different ways to do this. Obvious way number one, just raise the rear of the car. Not so obvious is increase your compression dampening. This basically adds more spring to the rear of the car. I'm just trying to think right now. I'm gonna just full experimentation. I'm gonna go full 10 clicks on this, and at the same time, I'm gonna see what the gears are like when I switch them. Okay, so by just switching the gears because I can take this time to see which gears will work better because this adjustment up here really doesn't. Both these are experimental, so it's kind of just saving time to do it this way. Why this works is because you're creating more resistance. When the spring compresses, you're slowing down the velocity at which it compresses in the rear. So when the car gets, you know, on the straightaways and all that aero force is starting to push down on the rear of the car, there's going to be more resistance there. So basically, it's just not going to push as far. Now, something I just thought about is eventually I'm going to be taking this wing setting down, and I'm almost, you know what, I'm not going to do this. Let's go off on this, because this is kind of me just learning something right now. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to take this wing setting down, all the way down, and I'm going to see how that affects my ride height at speed. Because in theory, with less rear wing, it should push the rear of the car down a whole lot less, and maybe I'll have that ride height I need. Just wonder how much of a nightmare it's going to be on the infield. But one nice thing about these infield corners is they're pretty low speed, so. Rear wing shouldn't cause too, it could be more dramatic change. Sorry, I can't really explain things, guys. I really don't feel good. I think the most I'll notice the lack of rear wing is in that corner right there, and in the bus stop coming up here. Alright, so first lap we won't see a difference in the relative or tab bar up there, just because we got the tires aren't up to pressure. Car's usually a little bit slower the first lap or two on these high speeds. Like, but you can already see it starting to go green. That's probably from the wing. Just had to double check. I still got my telemetry running so I can reference my ride heights again. Yeah, it's been hell this last week, guys. I've spent like 3 nights throwing up. That's 3 nights in a row, or 3 days, really. Fuck. Oh, man. Stomach is just so tore up. Car really doesn't feel like I took all the wing out of it. So I'm not really worried about my you know, time difference in this infield section. What I'm really going to be looking at that tab bar is when I'm on the straightaways and seeing how much more time I'm gaining just on those straightaways. Definitely going to go with the tall gears because it's not struggling at all in the infield. Still got great pull. So right here is where I'm starting to look at the tab screen. We're definitely faster, although it's not by much. But this little bit is what will help you pass somebody. This can be a hard track to pass on, but if you have that advantage of having a car that's fast on the infield and on the oval, then you got the advantage. That's all you need. Yeah, obviously, less rear wing, you go faster. Not exactly rocket scientist. It'll be interesting to see what the ride heights did. I'm just kind of impressed at how stable this car is still. Feels awesome. Of course, it's only been one lap. We know what we say when, or what I say about just getting excited in one lap. Too early. Same fours that were laps or races are 5 laps. You gotta have something good for the long haul. I'm thinking my tires are getting up to full pressures now, so this is the lap, this lap and thereafter, the laps I'm going to look at for ride heights. I don't want to look at the first couple laps just because car wasn't at its, you know, race ride height yet. Yeah, it looks like race pace might be in the 44s. Well, it's definitely in the 44s for the other 3 cars. Top guys will probably be doing 43, 42s. Can't wait to see how different this track looks with those bigger, with the new stands on the right. Probably be a long time before we get that update though. They did just update this track not too long ago. Again, car felt really good going through 1. Usually a trouble area when you take rear wing out. A little too fast into there, but that's alright. I'm just going to do this lap and then look at the telemetry. Wow, really nice rotation out of that corner. Yeah, I might have to split this video out because my stomach's starting to kill me. Thought it was alright to make a video, but stomach's saying otherwise right now. Much better exit out of there than last lap. Last lap I kind of attacked the initial part of the bus stop too quick and then wasn't able to get a good exit out of there. Alright, let's see if we can break into that 44-second bracket. We'll be close, but I don't think we'll do it.
45.04.
Alright. So that went rather well. Lap 10, 45.03. So again, I'm going to go to Atlas, load up that lap. It's loading it right now. Having some technical difficulties. All right. Ooh, awesome. So now, I think it was like the fronts were at 0.060 before, right? And the rears were at 0.055, something like that. Well, now the fronts have gone down a little bit. The fronts are now at 0.057 and 0.058. The rears are at 0.053, 0.054, and I just realized I can open up two of these at the same time. So I'm going to go open up that other one just so I give you guys actual numbers. And when I say the other one, I mean my previous lap. Oh, that one. Okay. So yeah, before is it, well, another thing to keep in mind is when I tell you these numbers, they're not like exact because I'm just clicking on random parts of the lap and those numbers change with every little bump. So I guess mainly I'm looking at the difference, and the difference on the first one was basically 0.005 in between the front and the rears, with the rears being 0.005 lower than the fronts. And the other ones, it's a difference of about 0.002. So I mean, I'm pretty much there. You really can't get much flatter than that, but what I am gonna do is save this setup first. And there's really no other way to figure out these ride height things other than using Atlas. Because, I mean, you could do it by trial and error, but you're just shooting at the dark. And it'd take you so much longer to just change this or that and just stumble upon the correct setup. All right, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to increase them 3 clicks. Now again, that is going to slow down the rate, which then after this I'm going to have to stop this video because my stomach is just toe up. It's going to slow down the compression of the rear springs and hopefully just prop up that rear end a little bit more for the straightaways. Just give us that perfect streamline. And I'm really stoked at how well this car is handling without that rear wing. Thought it'd be a nightmare. Again, we're not going to see any kind of time gains right now on the straightaway portions, just because I don't know why, but when the tires don't have pressure in them, they're slower. Car's slower. I don't know if that's actually realistic or what. Yes, you could say they have more grip, so that'd cause more friction, which would make them slower. Oh, really went for it, but just a hair too fast. Oops. Try and put down 5 laps here and then take a break. Stop driving so hard. Now, of course, changing that rear compression's gonna change the handling of the car as well, and all this stuff. But honestly, all it's really gonna do is make that rear end more stable. It's gonna slow down the weight transfer from the front to rear on acceleration, so it should be a more gradual weight transfer, and hopefully, in theory, it isn't too much to where it causes understeer, but it's just enough to, you know, give the car good rotation. And it'll also affect, you know, changing directions, like through here. It's going to slow down the rate at which the rear end shifts weight back and forth. So if it doesn't cause understeer, it'll cause it to be more stable. But if you push it too far, you'll eventually get to understeer, because the rear end just becomes very stuck behind you, or just not as compliant. A little bit more firm and just not, I guess, sluggish is the word I could use. I don't really want to use it, but it's a word I can use. Just not as limber. Just tightens up. Just seeing how deep I could brake. This one a little too deep. So I'm going to wait till the next lap before I put a lot of weight behind that tab bar up there. Right now we are losing a little time, but that could just because the tires aren't all the way up to pressure yet. Or it could be there's just too much dampening in the rear now and the rear end's too high off the ground, but we'll find out here in a second. Did run my best lap though. Really good rotation through that corner. Probably went a little too fast into that corner. Alright, now we'll see how our... well, actually, now I can't really compare this to my previous lap, because my previous lap, tires weren't fully up to pressure yet, so it's going to be faster just because of that. Which kind of just put me in a bad situation. It's going to be hard to tell now if I'm actually faster than I was before. I shouldn't have let that last lap been a fast lap. Should have sandbagged it so I'd have the other lap to reference. But oh well. But you can obviously see it's quicker now that we're on that third lap.
44.91.
Really got to make sure you match your revs with this car. I think that's when I have the most problems under braking. It's just I don't match the revs properly enough, and that rear end will break loose just enough. Again, really good rotation through there. You gotta drive the car, but as long as your inputs are... Love this V2 wheel. Just floored it right there. Never let off. Kind of almost a drift out of that corner. Never would have been able to do that with my old wheel. Alright. So... just gonna finish this lap and see what my ride heights are. All right, let's see if those changing those dampers did anything. So, again, you guys get black screen. You're welcome. Do what I can. Okay, so that didn't really do anything. I lied. When I did that on the Daytona prototype Riley, it actually had a greater effect. Actually, it's not. What was I before? Or wait, might not even be looking at the right data. Alright, so that didn't really do anything. I just lied. But no, that did do something in the Riley. The compression damping worked better in the Riley before. So, guess I'll just leave that for now. I just think that's gonna be... I'm going to... see if I can lower the front. I just feel like these are too big of adjustment changes. But it is what it is, and we'll see what happens. So again, right now, all I'm trying to do is just get the front and rear to be perfect. I mean, we're only off by 0.002 of a millimeter right now, so it's not... We're not off by much. This is more just fine-tuning, just really trying to get it to perfection. And I can lower the front of the car, which is always good to have a lower center of gravity. That's another thing I haven't really thought about either, is adjusting the overall ride height, because I can't remember if I made this car a little bit higher for another track to be able to deal with the bumps. Really hoping that dampening was all I was going to need to do, but obviously this car behaves differently to chassis changes than the Riley does. Way too fast into that corner. That's a pretty good sign up there on the tab screen, because we're already catching up to that previous fast lapping. That was with lap 3. Oh no, that's not right. It's with the same amount of laps on my tires, which is still a good thing. So it does seem to be a little bit, I mean, seems like it's just barely faster. Because we were red before and it caught up to almost neutral there. Again, if you feel that rear end ever getting loose on you coming into corners like that, just really make sure you're matching your revs. I don't really think we're making any time arrow-wise. I think I pretty much got that maxed out. I actually think it might have been better the way it was before.
44.92.
Look at the telemetry here real quick. Wait, I only do 2 laps? I did more laps than that. Oh no, I did 3 laps, okay. Anyways. Yeah, I'm gonna... If I can go down one more click here on the fronts, because actually it... Wait, let me make sure I wasn't looking at the wrong numbers. Alright, yeah, we're off by like a thousandth of whatever that unit is. So, we'll just leave it right there for now. I save this. And I'll be back in part 2, guys. Sorry if this video is a little discombobulated. It's not really feeling up to snuff. Let's look at our tire pressures real quick. Everything looks nice and even. Alright guys, see you in the next vid.